Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome to a new episode of the social media scene. Oh, we've got drama, and some spilled tea in social media today. So, first, we're going to talk about Twitter. Twitter is going to give us an edit button or feature, so it appears, but it's not going to come without some drama. And I'll tell you what that is. Also, Facebook. Facebook, it has been revealed that Facebook has been using local media to drag its competition. I'll tell you how. And today, Pinterest wants you to share your ideas with Facebook and Instagram. That sounds a little crazy, but okay. And then Snapchat is now the new YouTube video promoter. Yeah, all of that and more coming up next. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. How is everybody doing? I do apologize for the stops and starts this morning, but it was not my fault. It was not my fault. It really wasn't. I was prepared, everything was in place, and then something out of my control decided it just didn't want to work this morning. And sometimes that happens in the world of work and in live streaming. So, welcome, everybody that's new. Hi, I'm Alice Fuller, principal consultant at Sheer Social. Now, for those of you that come every week, how you doing? For those of you watching the replay, appreciate you. Now, all of you, here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and share this stream with friends and frenemies. Friends and frenemies, yeah, them people too. Especially those people talking about social media. Go ahead, slide this live stream right under their nose in those places and spaces conversations about social media is going on. And while you do that, let's go ahead and give you the breakdown of what is popping on today's show. As I said at the top of the show, we got a lot of drama going on in social media. Twitter, there is an edit button coming to Twitter, but not without some drama. And I'll tell you what that is. Also, Facebook. Facebook doesn't play nice. It really doesn't. And I'll tell you what campaign it has going on in local media to drag its biggest competitor. Also, today, Pinterest. For those of you that are pinning, that love Pinterest, well, Pinterest wants you to share your ideas with Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, I'll tell you what I mean with that. And Snapchat is now the new YouTube video promoter. Yeah. Yeah. Social media marketing, these platforms, they are doing the most these days. And I'm going to break it down for you today. So that's the rundown. But we can't start officially without my clapboard. No production, no real production. Limited budget to big budget starts without a clapboard. And this one is no different. There you go. Now we can officially start. Now, since I am running late today, my rundown is going to get real, what's the word I'm looking for? Tight. Yes, it's going to get real tight. So let's go ahead and dive into the first story of today and let's get through it quickly. So, and now I have, okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you, customer service. Okay, what's her name? What was the girl's name? I see you and thank you. And you go about your day. I think her name was Eugenia, wherever you are in the world. Yes, Eugenia, wherever you are in the world, working for Ustream. Thank you for your help. But I'm gonna have to get rid of you right now. But go about your day. Okay, bye bye. Now, got that out of the way. Let's get to the first story of the day before some other drama pops off. We're going to go ahead and dive into Twitter because Twitter is doing the most. Twitter has announced that yes, indeed, at long last, an edit button, an edit feature is on its way. Woo, 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 Whoa, you know what? I'm gonna give you some applause. I'm gonna do that because I need some positivity right now. Let's go ahead and give you the best applause, not the canned ones. Here we go. Oh, that's the booty ones. You don't want those. You want this applause right here. Here, take that. Yeah, yes, take that, take that. Yes, at long last, the Twitter has decided to give us an edit button feature, which they claim they've been working on for the last year. But we've been asking you for years, plural. And just in the last year, you've decided to start working on it. Oh, all right. Now, even though we've been asking for years and Twitter is now saying, you know what, we're finally working on it, it's kind of funny the timing of this thing because at the end of the day, it looks like this could be because of Elon Musk. I know you're like, huh? What does Elon Musk have to do with Twitter per se, especially in how Twitter decides which features we get and when? Well, for those of you that are not keeping up with technology news, two things have happened where Twitter is concerned. First, the first thing that has happened is Twitter got a new CEO. You know, Jack left. Well, you may or may not know. Jack Dorsey left. He resigned, basically. And in his place, he basically elevated or promoted his chief technical officer, or former chief technical officer. I don't know how to say this man's name, and I'm going to mess it up. And I already know. Parag Agra Way? I don't know. Parag PA. That's what we're going to call. And I he's going to be PA for the rest of this story, okay? PA. So PA became the new CEO when Jack Dorsey left. Okay, fine, cool, wonderful. So they elevated somebody from within. Wonderful. While that was happening, Elon Musk bought 9.2 shares on March 14th of Twitter stock. 9.2. That's worth close to $3 billion. I mean, that's his travel money. That ain't $3 billion is like that's his mall money. I'm just going to the mall to buy some stuff money. Okay, but that $3 billion investment makes him the largest Twitter shareholder. Elon Musk, that Elon Musk, is now the largest Twitter shareholder. Okay, so all of this is happening kind of interestingly, and I say that because the timing is I don't believe in coincidence. I really don't. Not at all. So first, let's go over here to Twitter because I want you to see how this is all kind of falling into place. First, we get the new CEO. Okay, nothing odd about that. We get new CEOs all the time in tech, no biggie. But here's the thing that is interesting. First, we get the new CEO, and then we get the announcement that Elon Musk is on the board, right? Then Elon, because he's Elon Musk and he feels like he can do whatever the hell he wants to do in many instances, he decides, you know what? Now that I'm the somewhat the head man in charge to a degree beyond the CEO, let me just talk to my people here, my 80 million followers on Twitter, and see if indeed they want an edit button. Now, of course, what do you think his tweeple had to say? We know what they had to say. Yes, we've been asking for this Twitter button for years. So he does a poll, and the poll comes back overwhelmingly yes, give us the edit button. So then the announcement comes that yes, indeed, Twitter is going to be giving us an edit feature. But then they try to say, but we've been working on it for the last year. You could have made that announcement last year. If you've been working on it for a year, why didn't you make that announcement last year? I'm just saying. Because now it looks as if Elon Musk, because he holds the majority of the shares right now, and because it's Elon Musk, we already know he's going to flex. So it looks like with that type of money, that type of influence, and that kind of power, Elon might be making the decisions. PA might just be CEO. You know what I mean? Perception versus reality. Perception versus reality. So who's running Twitter right now? Is it Elon or is it PA? I'm just asking. Perception versus reality. At any rate, we are going to get seemingly an edit feature. Now, I want you to read between the lines right here of these tweets. Let me show you this. Now, the first one here is from Parag. No, let me go to here first. No, I'm gonna do it different. I'm gonna show you Parag first. Let me go to his Twitter account because I want y'all to see how all this stuff is coming together. There's going to be some drama. I can so see it. I can so see it. So let's go over here. Okay, now you see here, Parag says, well, first, on April 4th, Elon asks his Twitter base, does everyone want an edit button? 73% said yes. 26% said no. And you know what, Satan, not today. Not today. Not today. Nope. So under two conditions, it's only available for a few minutes, 5 to 10. And when an edit is made, there's a small link that shows the edit. This keeps a public record. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Getting rid of spam is a high priority. Here's my argument against an edit button. What if a tweet goes viral, lots of retweets and impressions, and then the author completely changes the meaning? Not just a grammatical fix, but a total ideological change or shameless self-promotion. Okay, and as Boz pointed out, that was solved on Facebook long ago. You just include an indicator that the content has been edited along with the change log. If you are really worried about embeds, they can point to a specific revision in that history, but with a link to the latest edit, not a real issue. Okay, so you've got a mixed bag of responses here, but for the most part, we want an edit button. We want an edit feature, and so does Elon Musk's, 80 million followers, seemingly. Me personally, I do want an edit feature. I sure do. I sure wholeheartedly do. But here's the drama, the extra drama. Like I said, who's really running Twitter right now? Now, as much as Elon now is using, well, he's always been using Twitter, so that's no big deal. But he's also been very critical of Twitter. And that's the part that doesn't worry me, but it's what he's been critical about that kind of worries me as to the future of how Twitter could go. Okay, so here's some information about why this is troublesome. And I'm going back to Twitter. Musk says, let's go back to Twitter. Let me show y'all this. Okay, so this was just a couple of weeks ago. And by March 26th, he had already bought the shares, 9.2%. So he was already a major shareholder, but he kept that under wraps. So he says, given that Twitter serves as a de facto public town square, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally underlines democracy. What should be done? Interesting. Then he says, do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this? Well, he initially tweeted, free speech is essential. And then, do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle? So this is sounding a little too much like Trump to me. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to even be PR about it because I'm already irked because my stream is late. And then it's taking me too much thought to try to really be PR with this. Okay, freedom of speech, Twitter. I mean, people say pretty much as they want on Twitter. But as we've seen in these last couple of elections and these last couple of everything else going on, there's a sect of Twitter, or was, that felt like their freedom of speech was being taken from them because they couldn't say everything they thought, especially as it came to the presidency, as it came to U.S. government and some other things. So yeah, this is feeling a little too Trump esque for me. And here's another one. Now look at this. Twitter's next board meeting is going to be lit. Oh, really? Oh, really? So this is what we doing? Okay. 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 And then you got this dude here, Eric Trump, Representative Jim Jordan. Eric Trump, if I did 100th of what Hunter Biden, okay, I'd be in jail. He's not okay. So this mess right here. So this is what bothers me about some of what is going on behind the scenes with Twitter. It's going to be real interesting in the weeks and months to come to see what else is going to happen or what else is going to evolve where Twitter is concerned. I don't have any major complaints about Twitter one way or the other, but outside of not having that edit feature. But the politics that are going on behind the scenes, that is going to filter in how we use it across the board. So I'm curious to see, like I said, who's really running Twitter. PA, is it you? Or is Elon flexing? And because he's got the position that he has, and because he's on the board. I mean, technically, he has a huge say. He has huge influence in what's being decided. So that's the Twitter news for the day, people. That's the drama that I was referring to. There is going to be some drama in these rooms, these boardrooms, and how it's going to impact how we use social media. We don't know yet. Just keep an eye out, or just keep coming back to the show. You can do that too. All right, so let's move on because I want to get out of here sooner as opposed to later today. All right, so let's go over now to Facebook. Facebook. Now let's be clear. I have my issues with Facebook. Indeed, I do, and a lot of us do. But a lot of us are not public about it. But I have a show, and I'm grown. So within reason, I can say that I have some issues with how Zuck does business. Okay. We know it's a business world. I'm not naive into how business is really done. But at the end of the day, this right here, this is a bit much because Facebook knows its biggest competition right now is TikTok. We all know that. I've been telling you that for the last, what, 6 months to a year? No biggie there. That's not news. But what is news is this campaign that Facebook has been doing using local media. Now, here's the part that irks me. Now, as a media professional, a traditional media professional for long, 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 long time, news, entertainment, public broadcast, all of that. This is the part that irks me because I literally heard a story about TikTok on the local news not too long ago. And it talked about, of course, it was, the detriment TikTok could have to teens because of these challenges and things of that nature that they're doing, and how parents should be more aware, yada, 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 yada. And on the surface of it, I was like, okay, cool. Technically, they probably got that from a feed from somewhere else. And as most media news outlets do, they have their sources of news that they regurgitate to us as an audience. All right, fine. But when that news is basically a PR machine feeding it to a traditional news outlet that doesn't know that it's somewhat being manipulated to help malign another social media platform, that's where I have an issue. And that's what Facebook has basically been guilty of, and they don't seem to have any issues with it. Okay, so what am I directly talking about? I am talking about recently in the Washington Post. In the Washington Post, they did a story about this campaign. Specifically, the Washington Post reported that Facebook has used, um, what do you call it? It's not a PR company, but technically they do digital marketing. They do digital marketing consulting. They're using this agency or have been using this agency called Targeted Victory. Look them up. Targeted Victory. Now, if that name rings a bell to you at all, during 2016, they had a major role in helping Senate Republicans with their reelection efforts. See how political this social media thing is getting now? That is something we don't like to talk about publicly, but I'm just going to tell it to you anyway. Now, Targeted Victory basically started with Mitt Romney way back in 2012 in his presidential campaign. And the company then somewhat split into different arms. Okay. So Facebook has been working with one arm of Targeted Victory to basically feed questions and all this negativity about TikTok. Like I said, basically to local news outlets across the United States. Now, that also includes the harmful trends that, some of us have seen kids do. And some of them, yes, they do get hurt. And not even just kids, but grown beat people too get involved in some of these not Twitter, but TikTok challenges, like the one where they were, walking up the boxes and all that. Okay, wherever that started. But when you start thinking about, well, TikTok is not the only one that has these internet challenges going on. They are not the sole platform that's promoting this. The kids, Instagram has them, YouTube especially has them. So there's a lot of platforms, not just TikTok. So according to this report from the Washington Post, let me try to show it to you a little bit here without all the ads. If I can get rid of these ads, because they're not paying me not 1 cent to help promote them. Okay, here we go. Let me show you this. So when we start talking about stories, I want you to see here. Facebook paid GOP firm to malign TikTok. Targeted Victory, local operatives across the country to boost messages calling TikTok a threat to American children. Dream would be to get stories with headlines like from dancers to danger. Okay, that's a long headline. Really, it is. What's the SEO in it? Okay, never mind. I digress. So here's a story here. Like I said, you can look this up on the Washington Post so you can see it yourself. Now, when you are listening to the local news now, I want you to really be able to discern if you are listening to news, like real news, or is this part of Targeted Victory's campaign sponsored by Facebook against TikTok? That's the question. And the average person doesn't care. The average person doesn't know. They don't care. All they know is they continually keep hearing how TikTok is dangerous to kids. And in that way, Facebook gets out of the limelight for doing some of the stuff that it's been doing for the last couple of years that we know about. Okay. So then too, it's interesting when you look at the timeline and how things are happening. Now in October, Targeted Victory spread these rumors about the Slap a Teacher TikTok challenge. Local news talked about that. Of course, that's a negative. It's a bad story. Nobody should be slapping their teachers, and teachers should not be slapping students. Although self-defense is is a thing. Okay, in October 2019, we got the report from the Washington Journal that Zuckerberg was holding meetings with politicians, U.S. politicians. And in these meetings, he wanted to, press upon them TikTok's link to Chinese government. Okay, so remember, too, this is right around the time when Trump was trying to get it sold to someone here, to some major corporation here in the US, and was going to ban TikTok until it became under US ownership. Y'all remember all of that? Well, come to find out, Zuckerberg has had some dinners, had some secret meetings with 45, according to the Journal, Washington Street Journal. Okay, so then you have the meetings, these secret meetings, and not so secret now. Then you have the ban on TikTok, or the potential ban on TikTok, which eventually failed. So those tactics right out the gate give me pause when it comes down to how these platforms are working right now. And it gives me pause when, me as a social media marketer, as a social media manager, as a consultant, trainer, and whatever else title I decide to take on for the day, it makes me kind of, I have to be really careful, and I want to be honest with people and what's popping, what's really going on in front of them and behind the scenes, as these companies, specifically we're talking about Facebook, they are really going head to head and using dirty politics. And who's going to be caught in the middle? Us as users. And of course, the bigger picture is how this is all going to impact democracy. Okay, then there's that point too. So, as you are listening to your local news, people, as you are listening to the local news, please, please, please try to discern if indeed this is PR campaign to make you feel more worried about TikTok than you should about Instagram and any other platform, or is it really just news? It's hard to tell, and that's the point. It is really, really hard to tell. So if you have some questions, like I said, Facebook is doing the most in using local media to attack TikTok. So you got questions about that? I would love to talk with you, especially my fellow social media managers and professionals about that. Oh, and my publicists too. Love to talk to y'all about that. Now, let's move on quickly because I'm trying to wrap this up. First, let's get into Pinterest. Pinterest now wants you to share your idea pins with Facebook and Instagram. Okay. For those of you that are really heavy on Pinterest, and I know a lot of you are looking for alternatives to Instagram and things of that nature, Pinterest might be a good way to go. But as with any platform, you want to grow your audience, grow your following. And sometimes one way to do that is to get off the platform that you are currently on and share your content someplace else. And that's what Pinterest is hoping will happen. You're going to share your idea pins to Instagram and Facebook and hope that that will bring traffic back to, or eyeballs specifically back to Pinterest. Considering how much distraction is on Instagram and Instagram stories, because that's where these pins are going to go. They're going to go either into Facebook stories or Instagram stories. I don't know how how the feed is structured right now. Are people really going to go back to Pinterest? Because usually once we get on a platform, we stay and we just continue scrolling until something tells us to stop, or we fall asleep or something of that nature. So here's the other piece to that. Are you going to share something from Pinterest on Instagram and or Facebook that can stop the feed? Remember, you're in competition with all the other content that's already on the platform. Are you going to be able to share something that's so attention getting and stop the scroll that it's really going to have people leave where they're most comfortable and come over to Pinterest? So as a content creator, that's what you really have to think about. I mean, yeah, it's great to be able to share your content other places and get off of Pinterest per se, but I don't know if this is quite possibly the way to go. Just sharing it alone, I don't think is going to cut it. In all honesty, I suspect you're going to have to really do some extra to get people to leave Facebook. You know how hard it is to get people to leave Facebook all day, every day, and people, and especially on Instagram. Yeah, yeah. So for those of you that want to try this, regardless, I don't want to kill your dreams. I really don't. It might work for you. So it's real easy peasy. Let's go over here to the Pinterest newsroom, and I want you to see on your phone using the Pinterest app uh, what it's going to look like and how you can go ahead and implement this in your content sharing strategy. So let's go ahead and push these right buttons right quick. Okay, here you go. So you create your idea pin, create your idea pin, and you're going to hit share to, and as you can see, you've got the stories button right there. And then you can like I said, you can share this to Facebook stories, and you can share this to Instagram stories. But if you want to share it to TikTok and Snap, you can do that too. Now you may not see that in your little tray down here, but hey, as long as you've got the content on your phone, you can still share it to Snap and TikTok. But within the app, you're going to see stories, and there's probably a Facebook one that has been cropped out here. Okay, so let's see a little snippet. See here, there you go. Share the stories, prepping to share it. There you go. And of course, Pinterest is going to keep its little logo in the content. There you go. So people should be able to click that, and that should take them back to Pinterest, hopefully. But you really, as a content creator, you got to create something that's really worth leaving Instagram or Facebook for in this particular instance. Okay, so let's move on now to Snapchat. Once again, we start talking about building your audience, trying to get more eyeballs on your content. If you're on Snapchat and say you want to share a YouTube video, it hasn't been easy in the past trying to do the whole copy and paste thing. So Snapchat said, you know what? Here's what we're going to do for you. We're going to make it real easy for you to share YouTube videos in your snaps. So let's go over here. So you see here, you got the YouTube video, right? And then you're going to hit share, right? Hit Snapchat. And then in your snap, you're going to get this is cute, this little icon, that's not an icon. What do you call that? That little thumbnail, or they call a sticker. You're going to get this little sticker. And then for those of you that you are sharing, especially your friends, that you are sharing your snap with, they'll be able to click on that and go right over to YouTube. And technically with that, it's pretty easy peasy. You don't have to do any more copy and paste and all that other stuff. And as you can see, it becomes like an overlay. Real easy. So, you know what? YouTubers, I know it is hard sometimes to get people to watch your videos. So this might be a way. If you can find a Snapchat influencer that aligns with what you're trying to do, this might be a way to either co-create some content and or just pay them a little something. As you know, influencers like to be paid for their efforts and influence and for their audience. Pay them a little something, and maybe they will go ahead and share your video in their snaps. And that might drive traffic back to your YouTube videos. You know, it's not a bad idea. I'm just saying, you got to think out of the box these days. So that's it, people. Oh, all right. So I'm running late. That's because I started late. So everybody, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Be safe out here in these mean streets, wherever you may be in the world. And I will see you next week. If you have a comment, question, or even a concern, respectfully say so. in the comments wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you may be, go ahead, share that with me, and technically I'll get the notification and we can engage in some dialogue on that. If you want to be a guest on the show, go ahead and let me know that too. I am eager to have other people to talk to on the show to get their feedback and their insights about social media marketing. So people, that's it. It's a wrap. I'm out. Check the gate. Roll credits, fade to black. That's what I'm about to do. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.